Hey guys. So as I record this, it's Thursday night, but I don't think it's going to be released to YouTube till Sunday morning, maybe something like that. So I'm speaking to you from the past. Turn up your speakers if you need to. I'm a little bit excited right now. I guess I'll show you why I'm a little bit excited. Because I found my rock. And nobody knows what that means but me, but I have a rock. Well, why do you have a rock, Dave? That's a stupid thing to have, Dave. It's not about the rock, it's about who gave me the rock. I've had this thing for almost 20 years now. And it's kind of my good luck charm, and I lost it today. Along with that, I was supposed to be going on vacation in 2 days to New Orleans. I wasn't going without my rock. I just wasn't. But now I found it, so now I'm allowed to be excited about the vacation again, as much as I can. I said before, I live a little bit north of Louisville, Kentucky, and the drive to New Orleans is pretty damn brutal. I made the trip last year at about the same time of year, and I told myself I'm never doing that drive again. It's just too much. But here I am doing it again. I priced some flights, and if I flew down there, all I could afford to do would be fly down there and then turn around and fly back, and then I'd be broke. So I'm not going to do that. That's not much of a vacation. So I'm going down there for the same reason I went down there last year. Mainly, I want to play Tony and try to learn some stuff, some one pocket. If it's like last year, we'll probably play some banks as well. And as I mentioned before, I don't think I'm going to learn a lot about banks from Tony, because it's mostly just about making shots. But one pocket, I can absolutely learn all the strategy and moves and stuff that he's picked up over the years. I haven't picked up. I haven't been playing as long, and I haven't been playing as good a competition as he plays. So I'm excited about that. I hope he can find the time to give me some good quality instruction and not get so bored with me that he falls asleep trying to play me. We'll see either way to be friends. I wanted to talk a little bit. One of my YouTube comments on one of my videos was asking about road stories. I guess especially back when I was more heavily into the gambling stuff. I don't really have any, and I kind of told him that. The one I have, I don't want to recount because it was pretty bad. But I kind of do have one that's a much more G-rated or PG-rated gambling story about when I went to New Orleans last year. Now, I'm not talking about when I played Tony. When I played Tony in Banks, we played alternate breaks, and he gave me 6-4. He had to get to 6 before I got to 4. We played a dozen games or so and ended up dead even. I felt like I was shooting pretty well during that session. This was, new environment, new table. It was table 18 of Buffalo's, which is really tough. At 4-inch pockets or whatever. Humid. I'd had this Southwest for like 2 days at the time. So there were a lot of things working against me. I felt like I did well. I did well to play bankful against one of the best bankers in the world, even with the spot 6-4 and break dead even. During that same trip, we also played some one pocket. Oops. With him giving me a much bigger spot and murdering the holy shit out of me. Again, this was all to be expected. What I wanted to do was watch him. I wanted to try to just make him think. And so I could kind of watch and try to figure out what his thought process was and things like that. As it turned out, I was shooting so badly, he didn't have to think. All he had to do was just, run 12 and out every game. And that's pretty much what he did. So that's fine. So he murdered me on that. That was, I didn't go down there expecting to win playing Tony Johan. So this is all fine. It was funny. There was a guy. This. I'm going to have to paraphrase this because otherwise it becomes R-rated. Might even still be. That night I was paying Tony. I owed him a bunch of money from the matches, and I was paying him. And one of the railbirds was sitting there watching, and he says to Tony, "Well, now you don't have to go get blowjobs out on Airline Highway tonight." I thought that was really funny. He probably wasn't going to do that even if I hadn't paid him. That's why it was funny. Anyway, so was the next day or the day after? I got to Buffalo's at like 6:30 a.m. I usually get up really early back here in my real life. And I'm in Eastern time zone. The reason I just missed that shot was not so much because it was a tough shot, it's because I had nothing to play shape for. So I've mentioned before, my inner pool player likes to know what the hell I'm doing instead of just make a ball. So I have to fix something to try to play shape for, whether I get it or not. And what I'll try to play shape for is hit here, bounce out, and bank the 11. So just to get my inner pool player to shut up about, hey, you're not playing shape for anything. That's all I have to do to get him to be a little bit more satisfied. So where was I? Oh, the next morning I get there like 6:30 a.m. Central Time. I'm on Eastern, so the time zone was a little bit weird. And I walk in the door, and I hadn't even sat down at the bar and ordered a beer. I'm allowed to have a beer on vacation at 6:30 in the morning. I hadn't even ordered it yet, and one of the known local players comes up and wants to play me in Vancouver. I don't know if he's nationally known, probably is in like the gambling circles. I certainly knew who the hell he was. We actually played once at Derby City a couple years ago, and he defeated me 3-2 during that particular match at Derby. He didn't remember me. That's fine. I'm not particularly memorable sometimes. But I hadn't even sat down. I hadn't even ordered a beer. He's like, let's play some banks. I heard you play banks. He probably heard from when I played Tony the day before. And I'm like, dude, no, I just got here. And he said, okay, that's fine. He went over and went to practice. You know, one of the other tables. He went to just go knock some balls around. While I'm sitting there and finally waking up and such, I like, you know what? I'm on vacation. I came down here to play Tony, but I'm on vacation, and this guy's like a known guy. It's not some stranger. I didn't want to go and play, a stranger or a bunch of strangers. And this guy's certainly not a friend of mine or anything, but neither was he an enemy. And I knew who he was. I was pretty sure I'd see him again, and other people knew him and all that. So I texted Tony, can't make the 11. I texted Tony and said, hey, this guy wants to play me in banks. How does Tony think we should match up? Should we be even? Should he give me a spot? Should I give him a spot? Whatever. Tony never replied, or he didn't reply for a very long time. And I went up to the guy and I told him, hey, I just texted Tony to see how we can match up, because I don't really know how. I can't make the 11. I don't really know how you bank. But here's how I bank. I played Tony 6-4 yesterday and came out dead even after about a dozen games. So you take that information with whatever you want, and maybe you can come up with a game. And what we ended up deciding on was because neither one of us really knew each other that well, just from the one match at Derby City, where it went 3-2, we were just going to play even banks. Now, in my mind, he definitely had the edge against me in even banks at that pool hall, in the humidity and with me having a new cue to me. He had the edge. It wasn't a huge edge, but it was the edge. And we played We ended up playing $40 a game. Yay! And after, I don't know, 20 games or so, absolutely 100% dead even. I take that back. We played 30 a game for several games and ended up dead even. And he said, well, let's bump it up to 40 a game. Okay. And we did that, and we're dead even again. So I shot a little bit above my head. Well, I shot at the upper level of like my average range, I believe. And I think this guy shot maybe the lower level of his average range. Just the impression I got that I was a little bit happy with the way I was shooting, and he seemed a little bit disappointed with the way he was shooting. So we play, and we keep handing the same money back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm enjoying it. I enjoyed playing this guy. When I had played him at the tournament, he didn't seem like a dickhead, but not a very nice person. Just kind of grumpy and grouchy and things like that. But playing him there at Buffalo's, it was fun. You know, telling each other a good shot and being good sportsmen and all that. It was fun. And he was banking really well and making me have to think and work at it and all that, which is what I wanted. After I'm not even going to shoot that 4-ball many times. After the second set that I had won at 40 a game, which we were paying every 2 games basically, he owed me $80. And I had to go to the bathroom, and so I said, I'll be right back. And he goes, well, I'll be right back too. And he put his cue down. He was just using a house cue, and went out the front door of the building. I figured, okay, guy's going to get cigarettes or something. Not a big deal. This was probably 11 a.m. on Sunday. Never saw the guy again. Never came back. I stayed there for several hours, not waiting for him, but waiting for Tony to come in. I talked to this one guy down there who was a really friendly guy. We talked for quite a bit. Meanwhile, I would just keep looking at the door every now and then, like, did this guy really just bail on me over $80? You know, if it had been $800, it would have been about the money. If it would have been, you know, $8,000, I wouldn't have been playing for that much money. But it was $80, so it wasn't about the money. It was like just the principle of the thing. The guy never came back. The guy never paid me. All the bartenders and everything in there told me that I'd never see the guy again. He would never come in there again until he knew for sure I was out of town, because he wasn't going to pay me. And I'm just thinking, okay, why didn't you all tell me that before I played this guy? Y'all know him. You know that I'm just a vacationing guy in town. Why didn't somebody say, hey, make him post up before you play? Or, hey, don't play him? They didn't give me a satisfactory answer for those questions. They all just kind of thought it was funny that the guy had basically robbed me. Now, it was exactly the same thing as if he had mugged me in the parking lot and stolen $80. Except I didn't have to worry about getting mugged and having bruises all over my pretty face and all that crap. But it was the same deal. Over $80. It definitely bothered me. If he had told me, hey, you know what? I just lost all that money playing video poker. Or, hey, you know, I'm a little bit short right now. Can I owe you? You know, I get my unemployment check Tuesday or something like that. I would have said absolutely. And in fact, I've been enjoying playing him so much. I probably, if he had said, you know what, I'm just a little bit short this week. Can you loan me $80? I probably would have said yes. But as it turned out, none of that happened. Instead, what happened is he still had my $80 from the previous set, So he was up 80 in money, even though we were dead even in games. He still had my $80 from the previous set, and he pulled one of these on me and bailed, never to be seen again. Still seems weird to me to do it over that small of an amount. Did I ever mention that I suck? I've got to do another video kind of about shots like that, but more of a crisis in faith in general that I'm having with the Southwest. It's not the Q's fault, it's me having constipation issues. So that was basically the story of my New Orleans big gambling adventure thing. I did run into that same person again at Derby City this past year. Once again, he claimed to not remember me, but I reminded him that we had been playing, we had been, enjoying it, or I had been, and he seemed to, and then he owed me $80 and he left, never to come back. At that point, he said, "Oh, I remember that. Yeah, it's $80 that I owe you, right?" And I said, "Yep." He said, "Oh, I'll be sure, I'll definitely get that back to you." All right, cool, that'd be awesome. I wasn't expecting to ever get any money back from him, but for him to admit that he owed it to me, that was kind of cool. I was kind of afraid he was just going to deny it. There were no witnesses to the crime, so he was just going to deny it. But he didn't do that. So yeah, I do kind of remember that. So then, because the universe hates me sometimes, I promptly got COVID and couldn't go back to the tournament anymore. So for all I know, the guy's sitting there at the door at the casino waiting with $80. Where's Dave? Where's Dave? And I never showed up again. So maybe I'll run into him tomorrow or Saturday. Maybe he'll pay me. Don't know. And if I see him, I'll remind him. But I'm not gonna ask him, "Hey, where's my money?" The only thing that I've promised myself is that if he wants to play me anymore, he's going to pay me what he owes me first. We're not going to play for that 80, in other words. He's going to pay me what he owes me first, and then he's going to post up before we play. I don't think that's unreasonable for a guy that robbed me for a year. I don't think that's unreasonable at all. So, I'm supposed to be leaving here Saturday morning, so by the time you see this, I should already be there. And I will stay for up to a week, kind of depending on how fun it is, how much money I have left, all that fun stuff. Last year I came home on Wednesday, but I got the hotel booked all the way through all next week. I'm going to make some videos tomorrow to post to YouTube to kind of space out every 3-4 days, so you guys don't have to wait a whole week for new content if anybody cares about that. And I guess that's it. So next time I make an update video, it will be to talk about my New Orleans vacation. Bye.